Hello friend, today we're going to talk about the truth of walking the spiritual path. When does the self-development path become the spiritual path? And does it even have to? What are the pros? What are the cons? Will I lose all my friends and be outed in my family? We'll find out in this video. Stick around, and if you're interested in meditation, yoga, breath work, qigong, or just even bettering yourself, you might find some value in this video. I'll see you on the other side. So you're here, so you've got an interest in what we're talking about. Good for you. Let's talk about it. Number one, the spiritual path, which we're not going to get too deep into because it's different for everyone. It might just be learning to kind of lift the veil of life and discovering what's truly out there, what the world really means, what you really mean, what's underneath the layers of self. And you know, there's so many offshoots to this conversation that it's just impossible to talk about while I'm going down some stairs. So in this video we're going to just discuss the main points, and this is what I really want to highlight. Is there's many of us walking this self-development path, this spiritual journey, and not many people are talking about the realities of what that entails. And I think it's really important to have this conversation if you're on this self-development or spiritual awakening journey. So let's go. Alright, so if you're on this path, if you're on this journey, if you're discovering yourself, if you're starting to lift the veil of life by going to do meditation, yoga, or even just doing any self-inquiry about who you really are, then this is really important to know. Everything is two things. Number one, this journey that you're on is amazing. It's blissful, it's beautiful. You will find things out about yourself that you'll never would have got taught at school, or even from your parents or from friends or anybody. This journey will teach you who you truly are. You'll learn about the other side of life that we are not necessarily shown because it's not for everyone in this 3D reality we call life. This path is a gift. It really is a sacred gift, and the more self-work you do, work is in the title, the more you commit to that mat, the more you show up, the more you go within to find out who you are, the more you'll uncover. And what you'll uncover might be absolutely amazing. Who you truly are, what you want to do, what life means to you, what you can give back on a bigger scale, all of the above. But everything is two things, duality. And this is what we need to talk about. Sometimes this can be absolutely brutal. So let's keep going. But before we talk about that, let's just really think about what it is that we're talking about now. This spiritual journey, walking the path, this self-development journey, a lot of people don't do this. This is really an amazing thing that you can do for yourself. The majority of the people out there just live their lives, ignorantly so, and it's not necessarily a bad thing. They just do what they do. They don't feel the need to question who they really are or how they can better themselves. Just work, show up, and then, long story short, we die. But it's not for everyone, and that's okay. So first of all, I just want to make clear that we're not all meant to do this self-inquiry, self-development, this spiritual path. It's not for everyone, and that's absolutely okay. And nor should it be for everyone, because if we're all walking around in the woods talking about love, peace and oneness, maybe not everything will get done in life that's meant to get done. So the main point here is that not everybody gets to experience all that life has to offer. And this is the sad part, that most people will go through life and they'll never get to feel the deep bliss that you can feel from transcending your body through meditation and slipping into the unknown, where you shed yourself, your story, your physical body, and you find this peace that you can carry with you into the rest of your day. The more you do this, the more effortless life gets, and the less drama you seem to attract into your life. Or maybe a deep stretch in yoga that helps you release an old memory. Or maybe a deep stretch in yoga that helps you just feel absolutely blissful and really happy and, focused and energized. Or maybe a breathwork session that releases old trauma and helps you realign and makes you feel really proud of yourself. It helps you to connect with your body on a whole new level. This commitment to align yourself, mind, body, and spirit on a daily basis and connect with your deepest self, to Source, God, Allah, Buddha, oneness, the universe, however you want to frame it, doesn't really matter, but it certainly is a path. And if we're just talking self-development, it's simply bettering yourself, working on your issues, letting the past go, learning how to not keep repeating bad habits or patterns that you ultimately don't want. This is all really great stuff, and not everybody experiences this. Again, that's okay. But the great thing is, for those of us that do, for those of us that commit to walking this path, we get to see both sides of the coin. And let's face it, anyone who is bettering themselves or walking the spiritual path usually has been down the spiral of doom, hit rock bottom, had a bad experience, and is propelled to experience the exact opposite. So they can really appreciate life, because we can't appreciate the sun unless we feel the darkness. We can't appreciate the positive unless we have the negative. Everything is two things. And if we go through life with this knowing, then we can really appreciate our experience here on earth. So when does this path of self-development, working on self, getting better, being better, turn into the spiritual path? Well, only when you question the spiritual path, when you start to ask questions about, what does life really mean? What am I here to do? Who am I? Why did I have all those things come up in meditation? And what was that bliss that I felt? How do I get back there? What does this all mean? When you start to question life on a deeper level than just the surface every day, oh, it's just the way it is, feel a bit rough, oh, it's just the way things go. Fine, totally fine if you're that person. But if you're starting to question life on a deeper level, if you start to think more deeply about life, what's beyond these senses that we have and the story of who I am, then life can get a whole lot more interesting. And these practices like meditation, breathwork, yoga, qigong, and watching videos like this and other channels like this and doing the work can take you somewhere absolutely amazing, somewhere that you would have never ever been able to fathom in your wildest dreams. Experience things that you could never imagine. Experience things that if you shared with others, they simply wouldn't believe you. The feelings you get, the bliss that you can feel, the mystical things that you can experience. It really is a trip. It really is a path. So if you're questioning it, then you're on it. And if you're not, that's cool. Keep doing what you're doing. Just be aware of where you are on your journey. Because ultimately, if you keep walking this path and you keep doing the work and you keep pushing through and you keep working on yourself and you keep letting things go and you keep embracing it all, then you can find absolute happiness and peace within yourself. All right, let's talk about the pros of walking the path. Walking this path, like I said, can lead you to absolute happiness. And what is absolute happiness? There's relative happiness, there's absolute happiness. There's the quick fix, or there's the long-lasting happiness that comes from falling in love with life itself. Even if life is difficult, to wake up and be appreciative, be grateful for having your lungs, having your eyes, your ears, your body, your mind, and falling in love with the basics. If you rewire yourself to live from this mindset, life becomes easier, life becomes more effortless. You'll still have obstacles and mountains to climb and issues, but ultimately you're not living in a mindset of dealing with attachment to the past or the future worries or issues that don't really need to be taking you down the spiral of doom. If you rewire yourself to fall in love with life at a fundamental level, then your perception of life will completely, profoundly change. So you can absolutely experience deep peace no matter what you're doing. If you're following the path and you keep doing the work, you can experience life on a whole different level to what you were probably raised to think life was, or how you perceive life to be. Absolutely. And it all starts with self-inquiry, doing the work, watching these kind of videos, doing these kind of courses, digging in and allowing yourself to shed yourself, your story, and tune into the nature of reality. So let's talk about the cons. This is what you don't hear on these channels. This is what you don't hear from the meditation teachers, the yoga teachers, very often anyway, not unless you get a good one. The cons are aplenty. These classes should come with a disclaimer. These videos should come with a disclaimer. When you start to uncover self, the story of who you are and all that you have come to believe that life is, and all that you believe reality to be, when you start to uncover this, life can be traumatic. Life can be incredibly difficult at first, and even ongoing if you don't ground yourself, if you don't look after yourself, if you don't do the work, align with the right people and understand what you're doing. You're shedding yourself, you're shedding your story, and you're essentially aligning to a whole new reality, a whole new way of living. And you might lose friends, you might have problems with your family, you might find life incredibly difficult, and this can be incredibly traumatic. So this is your warning about the cons of walking the spiritual path. So on one hand, it's, you're gonna get everything you ever wanted and more. On the other hand, it can be very difficult letting go. It can be very difficult morphing into this new version of yourself. You might find that this 3D reality that you've come to understand that is all of life is not actually the life you want to be living. And you might see the cracks and the holes in the system, in the government, in the world, in friends, in family, in everything that you don't align with. You might completely radically change your outlook on life, your beliefs. And this can be traumatic. This can be very difficult. And I don't really want to be saying all this stuff because I don't want to bum you out or scare you. But it's really important to take this stuff seriously. If you recklessly dive into all this stuff and you don't think about what's happening, then you can find yourself in a lot of trouble. I've known people that have dived into the spiritual realms, trying different mantras and practices, and haven't been doing the grounding work, changing their diets, being guided by someone that knows what they're doing, what they're talking about. And it's like flying too close to the sun and burning out, finding that you disassociate with everything and everyone, and it can be incredibly traumatic. So this is what we have to do. If you're going to dive in and you're going to dive in deep, then this is why there's been gurus and masters to follow and to study with. Because essentially, these gurus and masters are close to the source of life and they can guide you. A good teacher will guide you to walk this path and change your diet, to eat cleaner, to read positive material, to balance the two worlds. The two worlds are the 3D life that we experience, that everybody lives in, and it's just all that we know is just normal life, just everything that just is. And then There's balancing this new spiritual realm, all that you experience when you transcend your body or download from the universe, or experience when you have these deep, profound chats with friends or spiritual teachers or leaders or people that you're following. What do you do with all that stuff? What do you do with all this new information? You can't talk about it with Ken at work or Margaret. No offense to any Kens or Margarets, but you get my point. You can't just start talking about this stuff. You can't just, it changes you profoundly. A great little tip is the 10% rule. Anything you feel really strongly about and you want to talk about and you want to start yapping on about, 10%. Just give 10%. And then, and if anyone's interested and they want to know more, they'll tell you, and give them 10% more, and then just keep doing this. And the people that are going to align with you are going to align with you. I do this YouTube channel. I put out all of this sort of stuff, but I don't talk about this stuff with my normal friends. It's just all just kept up there. And if they ask, I'll give a little 10%, and if they don't, we talk about all the other things in life, in the 3D reality and just normal life. And that's not to say, that's not diminishing normal life. There's all sorts of things we can talk about. There's a plethora of conversations to have. But this spiritual stuff is high vibration. It's love, it's gratitude, it's peace, it's appreciation, it's oneness, it's conscious thinking, it's profound, and it's not for everyone, and that's okay. So we have to learn to exist in these two worlds, the normal world and the spiritual realms, the high concepts, and be able to balance the two. And you might find that a lot of people on this spiritual journey do not manage to do this very well at all. You might find that a lot of people are flying far too close to the sun and they're walking around very spacey, and everything is kind of, hello, and they can't communicate with the average Joe, or they think they're better than the average Joe or more conscious, therefore they're, a higher being. And it's absolutely not true. There's plenty of unconscious beings out there that do everyday jobs that are just as perfect, whole and complete as the high vibing spiritual masters out there. And if anyone ever tells you different, well then, this is my judgment, but I feel they're missing the point. And this is the point, according to myself. Just my judgment, just my theories. I believe that the point to this spiritual path that we're walking is to transcend this physical reality through the exercises, the tools that we do, that we use, that we play with, and reconnect with source, with consciousness, with spirit, with energy, which essentially is what we are. And you can just say it like that, or you can say it's God, Allah, Buddha, source, whatever. That's up to you. And we do this to bring that essence of that consciousness back into our reality where we're living, what we're doing in life, in this normal reality with Ken and Margaret. And learning to balance that, to have this high vibration, this connection with self, this spiritual outlook, and be able to communicate with the person behind the desk, the cashier, with our mothers and fathers, brothers and sisters, without going, "Wah, I've learned this," and it's difficult. It can be difficult. It can be a burden uncovering truths of life about how the world, seemingly actually works. These laws of nature, these spiritual laws, the laws of the universe, and then just having a normal existence and keeping it to yourself and dumbing yourself down sometimes around people that are just not interested, or it's just not their path. This is the point. This is the first step to be able to reconnect with what is consciousness, shed the self and tap into that unlimited well of creativity, abundance, prosperity, love, unconditional love, confidence. It's all there within. It's not about going out there to try and find out who I am. It's within. To manage and balance the art of conversation and be able to create something through art, through music, through building something, through doing something. So it's not just a selfish spiritual journey. You're here to connect with your truest self, your ultimate self, and to, in essence, bring that self back into the world to nurture, to empower, to inspire. If you're on this journey, if you're on this path, you're here to do the good work. And this is the good work. To not just think about me, and learn, and do all I can to get. You're here to create something, to do something bigger than you ever thought you could do. And that's up to you. Whatever that looks like to you, that's all up to you. But if we just absorb information and we never do anything with it, we never make an impact or ultimately give back to the planet in some way, then it's just a selfish mission. So walking this path is profound. And if you can manage all of these points and still exist amongst Ken and Margaret and spread love and joy and feel proud of yourself and feel love for who you are and let go of the past and keep moving, we're not all perfect, we're all flawed, and smile along the way, then you are crushing it, my friend. And I'd love to hear your story. Let me know down below what your story is, what your troubles are, what you've experienced, what has been difficult, what you can offer to other people to help them on their journey. And let's make this a collective experience. Let's use our individual experience to help the collective process this and navigate these times. You are needed in this life. You are here to make the world a better place and enjoy the process, however that feels right to you. So I look forward to hearing from you. Thanks for watching this video. I love you, and I'll see you soon.